Welcome, food travelers. I'm Simon.
And I'm Micah.
We're here for another buffet, but this time we're actually going to a buffet located in downtown Las Vegas over at the Fremont Street.
Yeah, Simon, the name of this buffet is called Garden Court Buffet at the Main Street Station. We actually came here for brunch, and their hours of operation from Monday to Friday is actually 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. For $23 for adults, and Saturday, Sunday is also 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. and that one is $26 for adults, and dinner is Friday and Saturday, and that one is $30, and the operation time for that is 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. for dinner, and then children 3 and under eat for free. Children who are 4 to 10 eat for half the price.
This was actually the first time that I've been to a buffet that was not on the main strip itself, so it was pretty interesting to try out. And the size of the place was much more substantial than I was kind of thinking in my head, because I always thought that the main strip buffets were kind of the large, elaborate, well decorated ones. But in this case, I was surprised with the size, because it was really large and it had that really not old but old school kind of feeling for a buffet. So it definitely reminded me of the old time buffets of Vegas. But not in terms of it's more the decor, not in terms of how old everything is. It's more the decor. It reminded me of that. But yeah, it was pretty substantial, and the way they kind of made it was the seating was surrounding the entire buffet section, which was definitely one of the old style ways of putting up a buffet, because I believe nowadays they tend to put all the buffet stations on the edges of the room rather than putting it in the center.
Yeah, the decor of the buffet is actually really pretty with all the lights and everything, and you actually feel like you're in the station waiting for a train or something. And interesting enough, they actually had this train outside of this casino, and you can also hear the train and see the train go by.
Yeah, it was definitely themed to what it should be, because it was right next to the train tracks that were right outside the casino and the hotel itself. But yeah, definitely really beautiful. The ceilings, I took some time to just kind of look at it, and we do have, actually later in the video, we did film some of the ceiling to kind of show kind of the glamour of the place. It also had some stained windows that were actually really beautiful. I know outside of the casino, as we were walking around, there were some stained glass on the outside, and it actually was covered with a plastic covering because they were trying to protect it. But definitely very beautiful, kind of an older style decor in the casino itself. But yeah, I really did enjoy looking at those things.
Yeah, and I also appreciate how they have all these statues and everything too, and fan lights. That's something you definitely don't see anymore nowadays.
And as you can see, it was actually quite busy. One of the things I was surprised was, as you'll also see later in the video, there was a section that was kind of closed. So I'm really curious, maybe hopefully in the future when they open it back up, what that section would actually hold, because at the time of us going there and during filming, they actually had a tiny, no, I wouldn't say tiny, it was actually a substantial size that was closed that could have offered different types of food. Of course, we were here at the brunch, so maybe during dinner time it would have been different. They would have opened that section up to provide some other items for the buffet.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty curious about that closed section that you mentioned, Simon. Maybe in the Christmas or New Year time that they will open it up for some special occasion, maybe like special menu items.
Yeah, that seems like definitely a possibility, and maybe they'll get some more visitors during the holidays, and maybe they need more capacity and more kind of offerings, and so that definitely, I think, is a possibility for them to do that. Unfortunately, we won't be there at the time, and we won't be able to try it, but it is what it is. But kind of going through the entire walkthrough and the menu they had, it was kind of, in my opinion, Mike, I thought it was kind of your typical kind of buffet items. For brunch especially, you get all of the breakfast items, eggs, sausages, bacon, and then, you kind of get more of that lunch side where you have some cut meats. But in this case, I noticed from what they had, they didn't really provide too much of those hot meats that they slice off like other casinos do. So that was something I kind of wish they put a little bit more into to kind of entice people.
Yeah, that would have been nice, but one item that they had here that I thought was kind of interesting was seeing the Kahlua pork. I didn't try any of that, but I thought that was interesting to see at a buffet in Vegas, because that's not something that they usually have to offer.
Yeah, I don't even remember seeing it, so that's probably why. I might have passed through it but just not noticed it at all. But yeah, Kahlua pork is not something that's usually offered at a larger, I could say, Vegas casino, or at least not the ones that we've been to, since we've been to quite a bit, especially on Strip. We've been to pretty much almost all of them, I think, at least all the ones that are open. One of the things I did kind of notice was when you did grab this crepe, Micah, that you'll see in the video, I saw that also in the walkthrough, and it just looked kind of old, like it's been sitting there for a while, and so I didn't have any desire to try it. But then when I saw you put it on your plate when I had mine too, I was kind of surprised that you did grab it. So I was really curious how that was.
Yeah, it tasted really old. Yeah, you can see it in the video. I was trying to cut through it with just the fork itself. It was a horrible idea. Like, it just won't break apart. It's just not something anybody should grab.
Yeah, so I guess my assessment for it was correct, so I'm glad I didn't grab that. But pretty much kind of going through the menu and everything, everything was like not horrible. It was not bad at all, but it wasn't like great. Nothing that kind of stood out and made you go, yeah, that's just fantastic. And for the pricing, I can understand if you're staying down in the area and this is much more convenient to stay here if you're going to try a buffet. But I believe we talked about this earlier before, Micah, that there are actually some strip buffets that are kind of similar in price that just, if you're willing to make the trek down to the main strip and try those ones, that they would actually, to me, and in my opinion, would be a much better deal, because you're just kind of getting some better food, I would say, but not like something so substantially better, but better food overall for the same price.
Yeah, I think so too. It was nice to see there's a huge variety for the dessert section, but I mean, it was just okay for what it is. And I mean, it was nice to see they actually had a no sugar added section as well, but I didn't try those. I tried the sugar parts because I want something sweet. But yeah, it was nice to see that they have these options. I mean, there's even buffets that we went to on the Strip where they didn't have very many dessert items.
Yeah, and kind of pigging back on what I said earlier, and correct me if I'm wrong if you remember yourself, but for me, I remember, I think the MGM Grand Buffet was similar in price, but I really did enjoy that one. If you want to see our experience there, check out the description box below, and we'll have the link for that episode. But to me, that seemed like kind of a better place to go for about the same price. Of course, it's way on the south side of the Strip, so it definitely they're quite far distance away from each other.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the MGM Grand. I think for a similar price, I think that one is a really good buffet to go to. But I can understand if you are in this downtown area and you don't want to take an Uber down there, and if you're just by yourself, yeah, it may not be worth it, because then the overall cost may be a little bit higher in that aspect. But like, it's also interesting too, like in this one they only had soft serve, and a lot of the Vegas strip buffets, they actually have gelato, which is nice.
Yeah, I agree. I really do enjoy a good gelato, and some of those strip buffets do have really great ones. I don't mind soft serve as much either. I mean, it's okay. For me, I kind of like, as you'll see in the video, I like soft serve either with caramel or hot chocolate. But definitely the choices aren't quite great as I was expecting. But at the same time, I can't say I was expecting too much, because that, the Fremont Street, they do have their buffets, and they're known for cheaper pricing. But you kind of you pay for what you get in a way. And it's one of those things where it's kind of bittersweet, because it's not horrible, but it's not the lowest price, but not the highest price, and not the greatest food, but not the worst food. So it's just one of those things where it just kind of falls in, and don't really have very many bad things to say, but you don't have very many good things to say either. So you're just kind of stuck in that limbo section where you're just kind of in the middle of everything.
Yeah, and I know like in terms of dessert, Simon never has space for dessert, but I've purposely made enough space for the dessert just to try a bite of everything. Just to say that I tried it all. Yeah, I can say try the pies. The pies are good. The cakes are good. But all the cream puff and anything else, they're just not really worth the time to try it.
Yeah, and the pricing is not so much that if you do want to give it a try, give it a try. For me, it was a first, and I didn't mind because I didn't feel like I was overpaying for the things I was getting. So, and it gives you a good experience, and definitely the decor on the inside was very beautiful. So that was something that I really enjoyed. So there's positives as well with this buffet. And to wrap up the episode are our notables. And unfortunately for this episode, we did not have any notables.
And to support our channel, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for the YouTube algorithm. And for more photos, follow us on Instagram. See you guys on the next episode.